Play that Jermichael had the other day, was that something you would, a play that you had targeted with him? You know, why necessarily was he in the game at that particular time to run that particular play, which obviously worked out real good?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different things that go into a lot of those. You just kind of get a feel for how a back sees a certain things, all that. The cool part about that, we ran it in practice, and we just said, hey, just a reminder, you need 1 yard. Just cram it in there. And he said, Coach, I'm going to score. So that was kind of the conversation in the headset was, all right, it's 4th and 1, 3rd and 1, whatever. Maybe we knew it was a short yardage play for us. Unbalanced formation, you can never guarantee how they're going to line up to the unbalanced stuff. You hope, you think you have it schemed up pretty well, but it kind of catches him off guard at times, and he did a great job hitting it, and then it opened up pretty well. Everybody adjusted pretty well, got it done, and he was able to finish in the end zone.
And was that burst something when you guys were deciding whether to sign Michael or not, and obviously you had some film on him, was
Right.
that burst, and did you see that in practice? Is that what, you expected out of him at some point?
Yeah, certainly. And then you just see through practices, he's grown in understanding our offense. Obviously, he got a late jump start. Kind of just starts by learning game plans week to week, not necessarily mastering the offense. And then now getting into week 7 further along, he just gains more and more confidence from the players, the staff, everybody that he understands what's going on. He's done a good job, and he's I guess you'd say proven us to be right and trusting him that he can do more things well, and he's done a great job with it.
You saw the look the Colts gave you on that play. Did you think that it could go? Because in most unbalanced line formations, you're looking for 2 yards,
right?
I mean,
Right. They got a little bit out of whack with the adjustment when we motioned, and so you kind of thought this could be a positive play. Now you never know if it's going to hit like you hope it does for 60 like that. But the way they kind of got off balance, and you felt good about it watching it, but it's still got to play out and be executed well.
Since you had worked with Doug before, how much of an attraction is it that he's such a risk taker, that he's
willing to trust in 4th and 2 situations, sometimes 4th and 6. How much of an attraction is that for you to work for him?
Well, I mean, it's great knowing you got extra downs sometimes to get a first down. It's 3rd and 2, and you think, all right, if we just get half here or we try something, there's a good chance we got another down. So you can be aggressive in that mindset in terms of scheming things up, designing some plays. But then you just know he's doing whatever it takes to win. He's trying to give us an opportunity to win the game at each situation. So that's fun to be a part of.
Could you talk a little bit about the creativity factor
Right.
of the offense, because it's so hard in the NFL
Right.
because you put so many things on tape, and that the other side's working 80 hours a week
Right.
to cover all their bases. How hard is it to be creative in the NFL, like with the Agnew reverse,
Right.
little things like that?
Well, I mean, it is tough to be creative because, again, you're taking a risk. And that's something Doug has encouraged through the coaching staff of we need to be risk averse. We're going to push the envelope. We're going to do what we need to do to win the game, create plays that win the game potentially. Now, the plays and things we come up, usually it comes from somewhere. Very rarely are you inventing a new play. That's a play. We're able to show evidence of we ran that in Philadelphia. Jim Bob had run that in Detroit. A lot of people had run plays like that in their past. So there's not a lot new that you're seeing today in football, but we're all kind of recycling ideas or sharing them. But you're always trying to look for situations where you have a feel for what the defense is going to be, and this play aligns with that defense. Now, I'd like to tell you it hits all the time the way we hope it does, but that's not true. The game is really a game of unscouted looks and adjustments within the play even. So it has and it always will be a player's game, and they're able to go out and execute at a high level, and that's what makes you feel good as a coach.
So far this year, the offense has had chances in the 4th quarter to go down and have a game-leading drive or a game-winning drive. Last week, you guys were able to do that against the Colts late. It didn't obviously end the way you wanted it to, but can you use that as a building block for those clutch moments with the offense moving forward?
Yeah, certainly. Anytime those guys answer the bell with a situation like we had where we needed a touchdown, we're down a score. Now, you don't anticipate taking 8, 9, 10 minutes off the clock, whatever we did. You still think in the back of your mind probably have 2 possessions here at least, maybe 3. But you end up eating a lot of the clock, and guys just kept pounding away. We kind of felt we were able to run the ball, and they did a good job converting. And then we had some huge 3rd down conversions as well. But I do think that is a confidence builder. Now, at the end of the day, as an offense, we understand we didn't score enough points to win the game. So it comes down to that. Our job is to always score more than the opponent, whatever that means. And so we didn't get that done. So we're disappointed in that aspect. But there's certainly the feeling that when we need to, we can go down and execute. Now, we haven't done that every single time, but we feel like we're capable of that when we get out of our own way.
For a young quarterback, how important is it to get those drives, even if the ending wasn't proper, under their belt, like for Trevor Lawrence to be able to kind of engineer that down the field?
Yeah, I think that just continues to build that belief that everybody has in him and in our unit as a whole. Like everybody just kind of believes when we need to, we can answer the challenge and execute. Now, it almost makes it more frustrating when you don't in those situations because we've seen ourselves do it. And you kind of go back to what led to this lack of execution, what was wrong with this play design right here. So you kind of always go back to that. So there's a give and take with it. At the end of the day, we just want to win, whatever that means. If that means we have to punt every single down, our defense is scoring, whatever that means, we'll take it. We just want to win at the end of the day.
Was that 3rd and 13 throw to Zay on that last drive? Was that one of the better throws you've seen Trevor make?
Certainly, and we stepped up when we needed to. Guys protected really well. There's a good pocket. Zay ran a great route on a very good player, and Trevor put it exactly where it needed to be. It was a great job by Zay to keep his feet in bounds and finish the play, but that was the execution we needed in a critical moment right there.
And what do you kind of stress to Trevor when it comes to facing a Giants defense that probably blitzes more than any other defense you guys have played?
Right. They're trying, not necessarily creating sacks and creating hits, but there's a sense of pressure being added to you. And so it's really just falling back on your techniques, your fundamentals, the way we've coached you, the way we've built the plan through the week, and executing our plan at the highest level. Every week's going to look different. We go into every week with a different plan of attack for that specific defense, but still trying to put our players in the best possible position. So it's on us to explain that to our players. It's on them to understand why that's the coaching point for that week or what the particular plan is built for. But so at the end of the day, it comes down to us executing the plan and adjusting if we need to.
Trevor yesterday kind of opened up about the struggles of last year and how he learned to kind of let things go and move on after sort of, dwelling on bad games from last season. And obviously you guys are in the middle of a losing streak right now, hoping to break that. What have you seen in him in terms of that mindset? Have you noticed that in him, and what has he kind of taken away from, as he sort of told us, from last year?
Again, I don't know necessarily last year. I think it's part of just Trevor's makeup. He's very level-headed, kind of stays in the moment and understands, this is a short part of a long season. And so we just continue to stress with all our guys and coaches as well, just to trust our process. We all believe in what we do here and the way we do things, and we believe we have the right people to accomplish what we want to accomplish. So for all of us, it's learn from what happened the day before, execute in the moment right now, and then we'll worry about it as we prepare for the next day. We'll continue to move forward on that. So Trevor's just done a great job of understanding that, living his life that way. He kind of stays in the moment right here, doesn't dwell on the past, learns from the past, and uses it to be a better version of himself moving forward.
You guys ran probably more plays than usual on Sunday that were different, but they were coming out of the same look.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had the play fake to Travis, and then the reverse to Agnew on the one play. There was a 3rd and 6 where Trevor just straight up took the ball, ran it to the right. How much of that is a function of playing an opponent you've seen before, and you got to try to come up with something different?
Yeah, I'd say that's a big part of it. I mean, you have an idea how the defense is going to unfold, but at the end of the day, all those plays are kind of, for us, core plays for us. The presentation's certainly different, and that's what you're going back to, but we're trying to find ways as coaches to scheme against what we anticipate the look being while putting our players in position to do things they've done for a long time, or we've asked them to do for a long time. They have great understanding of. So, the old saying is plays are expensive, formations are cheap. So we're going to show a bunch of formations, motions, all that to try to execute things that we know really well. And I think that's all just kind of a byproduct of all that. Now, a game expresses itself differently. We have a lot more plays on our call sheet than we execute in a game. So there's always times where we have plans to complement this play with that player, and the game just doesn't unfold that way. It doesn't get called. Maybe it carries over to 3 weeks from now. We show the play that complements something we ran in this game, because we have to understand, too, what the opponent's studying as well.
You've been with Evan Ingram for a little while now. Do you see a little bit of extra focus from him this week, getting ready to go against his old team?
Honestly, I don't know that I do. Evan's a guy that's, from the day he's got here, been extremely focused. So he's always kind of been about his business and about his work, puts in extra work, as much as anybody else we have here. So I don't know if I'd say anything different. He hasn't acted any different to me. I haven't really brought anything up with him, too. But, I think there's always sort of that kind of proving step of, I'm not there anymore. I want to show you all this. But I don't worry about that with Evan, really. Evan's always been locked in and working as hard as he could to prepare himself ready to play on Sunday.
Kind of adding on what you were talking about earlier with the Giants defense, what have you seen on film from them in terms of what they do well, and sort of where you guys need to win at on Sunday?
Well, I think they have a really good interior defensive line. I think Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams are both very, very good players in this league and have been productive players since they've been in the league. And then structurally, they give you a lot of variety. There's a variety of coverages, or a variety of presentations. So you're kind of, again, trusting that we've taught the standard operating procedure of all these plays to our guys really well, and they can adjust, because he's not a guy that you're going to get the same look over and over and over like we've played some of these defenses in the past, where they kind of stick to who they are and what they do and force you to execute. Where, I think Coach Martindale and those guys, they give you a lot of different presentation that makes it challenging to know, when I call this play, what defense am I going to get? Do the players know all the ins and outs of that versus each look? So that's certainly what makes it challenging. They have good players that are playing really, really hard.
How tough is that for the offensive staff when you guys call plays, when there's different defenses down in and down out?
Right. It's certainly a challenge. I mean, we'd love to be, we know what they're going to play and we're going to go out and execute at a high level. Then when it becomes all this variety, you've got to cover your basis on a lot of different levels. You got to make sure that we're in great communication with the players, that they understand everything inside and out. If they don't, it's not worth it. We have 100 good plays on that call sheet. We can afford to scratch plays, whether that's Sunday morning, Saturday night, whatever that is. We're always looking to put our players in the best position. If they don't understand something, to the front and back of it, it's not worth having in the game plan.
I want to ask you one question. I'm Kaylin Kaler with The Athletic. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So because of your experience coaching quarterbacks and offense, obviously, I'm working on a story about how backup quarterbacks learn the cadence and have to master it perfectly.
Yep.
So they don't, offset the
Yep.
offensive line if they have to come in a game. And I know in Philly, there was a lot of backup movement going on
Right.
when you were there. So how do you coach that with quarterbacks? Like, are you recording it, having them listen to it back?
Yep.
Like, what are the techniques and tactics that you use?
So we definitely do that. We try to make everybody kind of make it sound like the starter, because that's who everybody's used to hearing, the first offensive line. Now, that's impossible to do. Everybody sounds different. C.J. Beathard sounds very different than Trevor Lawrence. C.J.'s got that little twang in his voice that he's not going to make it sound that way. We have Logan Cooks, our emergency quarterback. He sounds more country than anybody we have. It will not sound the same if he were ever in there. But we do. We actually record, when we go out early and do our quarterback center exchange every single day, we record it with audio too. So we get a variety of Trevor going through all our different cadences, what it sounds like. We have a library of that stuff, so any quarterback that comes in, they're able to hear what that sounds like. We do everything we can to try to create that same rhythm that the starter would have, so everybody gets used to that. But, I mean, it just doesn't work out that way. Everybody's going to sound a little different. You want the rhythm to be the same. You want the voice inflection to be the same, but, their own, what is it, dialect, I guess?
Can't coach that.
Yeah, you can't coach that. No, you definitely can't coach the accent out of CJ there. So that's just kind of something everybody deals with, and everybody understands. They're on high alert that, all right, this is going to sound a little different as it goes.
Yeah,
So.
and then I'm sure you saw the Bengals ran the Philly special play. I think it was not this past week, but the one before, and it didn't work for them. And something you said earlier where you said, football, trick plays and fun plays like that, like everyone's doing the same thing, like nothing's new. So I wonder, what's the life cycle of a trick play like that? I mean, is that one kind of dead now? Have defenses really figured that one out?
No, I don't think so. It's just a matter of the right time, the right situation, and there's certain things you'll see. There was trick plays. We always look at every single week what plays have been run against this defense going back to as long as we can with these guys to kind of see just evidence of, have they seen it recently? You'll see plays that their offense just ran. So you're kind of in the back of your mind like, well, I mean, they probably practiced it against their defense. They have a feel for it. Let's hold on it, whatever that may be. But I think, you could probably go back as far as 20 years and find a play similar to the Philly special, and people have been running it for a long time. It's just how you present it, the details of it, the situation you call it in, that kind of dictates whether it is successful or not. Now, I think the process of how you get to that play and what makes that decision, that's a big part of this whole deal. But,
All right. Thanks, Preston.
cool.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys.
It was like, when you go to the finals 9 straight times, you deserve a break, don't you? Yeah.
So I talked to Shaq yesterday, and obviously, he had the game on Sunday. He said that the thing he tries to focus on is making sure his mind is where his feet are. Basically saying, like, he lives in the present. He can't worry about the past. He can't worry about the future. What have you seen from him in meetings? I know he didn't practice yesterday. What have you seen from him in meetings and just around the building that shows you he's moved on?
He's a veteran, and he's been consistent throughout his career. As a corner, you have plays. You have to have a short memory, And he does that. He moves on, and, you know, he's back in here trying to get back healthy and trying to do the things we want him to do.
What's your confidence level in Shaq moving forward?
Oh, it's still there. It's still there. You know, they make plays, we make plays, but we just have to make more plays. And we have a confidence that Shaq can go back out there and do it. There's no loss of confidence in him. We're just ready for him to get another shot.
Is it easier for you as a coach to have a veteran corner who doesn't really get his confidence rattled even when, you know, he has a performance in the way he did, or plays that happen?
Really, corners have to have that fearlessness and, you know, forget things. Because if you don't, you'll have it in your mind and it causes you to play soft and causes you to play the way you're not supposed to play. And he's a veteran corner, and he understands the game, and he's had a bunch of success, and we look forward to him doing it again.
Do you ever worry when it's one of the leaders of your defense that goes out there and has the struggle game, or is it a little bit easier that way because you know he's one of the guys that kind of leads by example and going to keep working?
I think, you know, you can never really put it on one guy, because at the same time, like when he's in coverage, we have 10 other guys that are out there supposed to perform their job, and if they do their job, then maybe that doesn't show up. So it's a team game, and when you have one guy that has the opportunity to make a play, there's 10 other ones that also have the opportunity.
I know hindsight's kind of 20/20. Do you think you could have adjusted your calls a little bit differently to take some of those crossers away?
I thought we did. In the second half, we did it, and, you know, it just comes down to really making plays. The ball was coming out. We were in leverage sometimes. Sometimes we were out of leverage, but we'll learn from it. Got back to work yesterday and going back to work today, ready to get it fixed.
What have you seen from the Giants offense? Obviously, Daniel Jones and there, he can kind of run around a little bit. So what have you seen from them in terms of how they've had success this year?
26.
Yeah.
26.
What is about him that you know is game changing?
That's the thing. He's a game changer. In the run game, he's special. Has great vision, jump cuts, can find the hole when it's not there. And then their offensive line is playing well. They're protecting the quarterback, and they're also opening up holes. And then the quarterback itself is another dynamic. He's a guy that can throw a ball on time and use his legs when he needs to get out of trouble and to make plays for him.
How challenging is that on your linebacker, sort of when a quarterback can sort of scramble around, you have to keep an eye on him a little bit?
It's the same way. It really all through levels. The back end has to hold up in coverage. The linebackers have to be aware in zone coverage. And up front, we have to make sure we try to limit his movement in the pocket.
How important is it for guys like Josh and Trayvon to know that the sacks are going to come and to maybe not press and overreact to them not coming in?
It's important for them to know that, but at the same time, they know that we need that. And that's what we're about. And we have to generate that. And we don't need them to stress or go out there and try to play outside the scheme. We just need them to be them, and the plays will come. Just trust the process, and the plays will come.
How much has not having Fatukasi at times impacted your ability to stop the opposing team's running game?
I think Corey's done a good job of filling in, but anytime you have one of your main guys not there, the other guys step up. But if you were able to have both of them on the field at the same time, that might help out. But there's really no excuse to it. But we have to stop the run when it's time to stop the run. And we haven't been doing it as consistent as we want to, so we're back to work.
In training camp, you said that your defense and the identity that you wanted them to have would be run stoppers. When you're going up against 26 and when you're going up against a back as talented as him, is this in like your mind and in your player's mind one of those games that you need to prove it?
Well, I think you got to prove it every day. That's one of our slogans. You got to prove it every day. Every day you step out on the field, you got to prove who you are as a player and who you are as a defense. And our division is like that. We have good running backs in our division. So every week we step out there, we're facing a good running back. So that's part of have to step up every week and prove it every day.
How have Devin Lloyd and Trayvon Walker, the two rookies, how have they reshaped this defense and elevated it? If you could kind of summarize, now that we're headed into week 6, what you've seen from them so far this season, how would you do that?
I would think the energy, physicalness, that's something that really is different with those two guys. Devin, he plays physical on the second level, and Trayvon, he's physical up front. But the really thing that stands out about those two is the length. They've increased our length on defense, and they're able to help other guys in certain ways, and they're able to make plays themselves by being long, and both of them are extremely long.
How are they as far as leaders? Like, I know they're rookies, so do they have a voice? Have you seen them kind of step up as leaders, or are they mostly kind of still learning at this point?
Well, really, leaders are really defined by their actions, and both guys are out there working hard and performing on the field. So guys gravitate to guys that perform well on the field and work hard. So they're leaders not by age, they're leaders by the way they play.
What sort of play have you got from Rayshawn Jenkins? It feels like he's been kind of flying all over the field, and you've been able to really move him around and play him deep, play him close to the line of scrimmage, and play him to his strengths a little bit.
Yeah, I think he's a piece that is playing well for us, and we're happy. We're excited that, he's healthy. He's going out there and he's making big plays. He's being physical in the run game, being able to blitz at times, and then his coverage. I don't think, guys are catching balls on him. So that's a big plus. He's playing well, and we hope to keep that going.
Anything else? All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks. Thank you. Basketball season.
About Jamal Agnew and your expectations of when we might see him on the field again?
We're hoping this weekend. We're opportunistic. We're hoping that he'll be out there. We'll see. He didn't practice yesterday. He may move around a little bit today. But the reality is he's a good returner, a great returner. I don't need to see anything. I mean, it's just get him ready. We got to protect him from himself probably. But we're gonna, if he's healthy, he's going to be out there. We're hoping he'll be out there.
I saw Christian catching a few punts at the start of practice yesterday. If he can't go, is he going to be the guy back?
He has done it in the past, and he catches them in practice. But we have other guys that can do it as well. Chris Claybrooks can do it as well. So we have guys that I trust that'll be back there. We have not made that decision. We're still holding out hope that Ags is playing.
Anybody knocking on your door saying they want it if you can't go?
I got a bunch of guys.
Like to be able to do that, right?
Oh, I got a bunch of guys. I got not even returner type guys. I got D linemen telling me they can do it. I got a million guys. Josh does all the time. They all do.
A highlight reel if you put a D lineman back there.
Oh yeah, they all think they're a returner. They had returned at some point Pop Warner or something, and they think they still can do it at this level. So I get it all the time. Yes.
When you guys were scouting, I guess, Christian Kirk to bring him in here, was his punt return skill something you guys took a look at, just an additional thing that you could bring?
I mean, I did. I don't know if they took my opinion on it. Yeah, he's talented. He's a very talented player. Obviously a great receiver. Lucky to have him. I don't think that had any bearing on us signing him, but I definitely was excited to get him here for sure. You can't have enough returners in the building.
What have you seen from Chris Claybrooks in terms of how he's gotten better at that position, kick return and punt return maybe?
He works on it every day. That's the cool thing about it. He works on it every day. It's funny, is 2 weeks ago I was showing the guys a clips of him at Memphis returning kicks. So scored a touchdown. I enjoy showing those guys kind of clips of their buddies, how they were in college and what they used to do and those type of things. So they love it. And literally 2 weeks ago I was showing some clips of it. So it's something we're encouraging, and he works at all the time. So I feel very comfortable with him being back there.
How much does the blocking assignments or blocking responsibilities change with different returners? Because every returner kind of has a different style. Chris Claybrooks isn't the exact same guy as Jamal Agnew or Christian Kirk. How much does that change it?
It's not necessarily blocking styles. It's scheme probably would change a tad. You may have different returns planned, but overall we got to put a body on a guy and block and do all those techniques we work all the time. We do a ton of drill work, fundamental type stuff. Those are all still the same.
Have you ever had a long snapper knock a guy out before?
There's not very many guys like Ross that hit like he does, that cover the field like he does, and he's a linebacker in there. And it's funny, as some teams actually account for him and actually block him like he's a cover guy, like he's a normal punt guy. So he gets treated that way at times. So it's a cool thing that he can go down there and be a big factor in coverage. Obviously, making good plays, making tackles. He's always a factor down there.
Well, it was funny when the Jaguars cut Overton, signed Ross. I'd asked Marone about that, and he said, because Overton never had a bad snap. He said, this guy's not going to have a bad snap, and he's going to cover. He's going to get down the field, and that was because they had seen him in the joint practice with the Ravens that year. So, is he continued to do what attracted him to this team in the first place?
Yeah, because he works it every day. I mean, his snaps are fantastic. I mean, the laces, all the little details he does, for our unit that we watch every day. It's so important, just getting those snaps back perfect. So we have great operations, not only in the punt game, but also the field goal stuff. So that's number one. But anything he does in coverage is a bonus. And so there is some guys that aren't as good down the field. We're fortunate that he is very good in coverage. And, sometimes he's, has to kind of save the day for us. You'd love for him, the snapper or any of the specialists not to make tackles. But when they do, it's a huge deal for us because you got to get them down sometimes.
One of the weird plays from Sunday's game was the punt along the sidelines, and all of a sudden it's there. Was that just a case of the Colts just kind of got a lucky bounce out of that and was able to retrieve it, and then they made 19 yards out of it after that.
I would say it was a great punt by Logan. I would say it was a really good play by Chris Claybrooks. If you watch that play, he ran down the field, and it's a technique we use a lot, is when there's a returner standing there and you have a corner on you, is that we call it bully, but bully him into the returner or get him in his face. And so to do exactly that, we get the opportunity to potentially make a big play. It's one of those unfortunate plays where it bounced right in their hands to a really good returner as well. So that's ball. Our guys were frustrated because we looked at it, the ball's on the ground. This is an opportunity for us to make a big-time play, a game-changing play, and it just didn't go our way. And you study that and you go, is there something we could do different? And there's not. I think you just get more guys down the field, and the very next time we do that, the ball's ours. And that's what I try to encourage our guys that, hey, those plays will come. Just keep getting guys down the field with great effort, all those details, and we'll make those big plays. And like I said, the very next time, I feel very confident we'll get those. Those come.
Sorry about that. You've talked about Jamal Agnew having the green light in the past to return whenever he kind of gets the feel for it. If he can't go, do you give that same green light to whoever's filling in, or do you kind of have to say, all right, you got a yellow light, and you got to think about this a little bit more?
It's something with Ags. You trust them making great decisions. We're fortunate with those other two guys. They also make really good decisions. So that's something as we get into the game, further down the line of how we're liking our matchup, how we've practiced, all those things we'll get into more down the road. Coming Friday, we'll kind of make those decisions. But, I trust those guys back there to make those good decisions. So it could be very similar.
Didn't that rule come up on Monday night where a guy was making a fair catch and the gunner or whoever blocked a guy into him, and the referee in the booth said, well, that's not fair catch interference because your own guy. So you can block a guy into.
That's what Chris was trying to do, and that's what he did. I call it a bully technique, but you run their guy into the returner. So anytime you have a bailer back there or even a corner that's on you, you kind of lock on and drive them into the returner and just hope that's a good opportunity, whether it goes off the corner or messes with the returner enough to cause a muff. So yeah, that's a technique that across the league every team's doing it, and it's the awareness of the returner to help his corner out who doesn't know where the ball's at, and then also the awareness of the corner / safety or whoever's bailing back there understands where the ball is and is it close, and that's the communication we teach all the time, and because those are game-changing plays. All of a sudden we give the ball to the opponent. Those are big plays. You can't afford those.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime.